everyone! How's everything? Long time no see. So it
Hello,
seems like
hello.
it's our first webinar this year, I mean school year. How's everything? I can see that we have 37 participants right now, so we're still waiting for more people. And yep, I'd like to say hello. As I can see your comments, I'd like to say hello to Miss Esmeralda because your comment was the first one. Greetings from Ukraine, and greetings from Ukraine to you as well. Azerbaijan, Miss Nadia, greetings to you as well. Greetings to Miss Daria from Kazakhstan, Irina, Ukraine. Um, Someone with the nickname Good Morning. Greetings to Egypt, Kiev, Ukraine. Yeah,
Gamarjoba to Georgia, We've got some participants
Georgia.
from Georgia
Yeah.
too.
The woman's greetings from Hoy. Miss Azra, hello. Nice to see you here. Lithuania, hello. Turkey. That's perfect. Ukrainians. Again, Nona, hello. Hello to Georgia. That's great. And you know what? I'm really happy that this topic appeared to be interesting for you because, when we were talking about the topic for the webinar, Mr. Samad said, maybe no one is interested in such thing like writing essays. But I was pretty sure that, yep, teachers are interested because, to be honest, here in Ukraine, we do prepare our students for national exams, and as usual, we write letters. But anyway, I do believe that one day we will start writing essays as well. And I think that this webinar will help our teachers be ready for that special day when we will start preparing our students for writing essays. Yep. Miss Irina, nice to see you. Good evening from Helsinki. Nice to see you,
Hello, Miss
Helsinki.
Elena.
Argentina. Hello to Argentina. Hello,
Somalia.
Safak. Yep. So, Mr. Samad, what would you say now about this topic? So, what should we expect from this webinar?
Well, hello again. Hello, everybody. Hello to all participants that's joining us from different parts of the world, to Azerbaijan, my motherland, to Georgia, Ukraine, of course, Somalia, Egypt, Argentina, whatever. So first of all, of course, I would like to express my gratitude to everyone, absolutely, who decided to join this webinar. Well, just a few words about me for those who don't know me. By the way, I'm very happy to see and to have here, basically, to see familiar names. Thank you very much. My special thanks to those people who, by the way, Miss Pinar, I've just noticed from Turkey. So good evening, Miss Pinar. Thank you, absolutely, everyone. Well, my name is Samad Samadov, so I'm the CEO of SR Teaching and Learning. The company basically is an international company in the business of teacher development courses, different events, and all the stuff. I'm an international IELTS instructor as well as international test maker, and I've been involved in teaching exam classes for about 16 years now. And I also been involved in different countries' test making stuff, right? So when we decided with Eva to have the session on writing, to be honest, I mean, we may say that it happens all around the globe, like mostly students do not like writing, and majority of teachers, they somehow avoid teaching writing classes because of some certain reasons. Well, we will try today within this hour to cover the main idea for the topic that we are going to present today: writing essays for exams. Right. So this is we will try to put the main and emphasize the main idea which stands behind teaching writing for exams. Okay, so
let's get started. Hello, Miss Anastasia. I can see a comment. Thank you. So let's get started. Could you just share your, yeah, the screen is here, but please make it the whole presentation. Can I add it?
all right.
Okay.
So
So by the way, this information is for our participants since we have such program which helps us deliver these webinars on YouTube, and Mr. Samad can't see your comments. So from time to time, when you will be answering his questions, I will appear on the screen because I'd like to help him and I'd like him to know which comments we have, what kind of answers we have in the chat box. So yeah, I'd like to encourage you to be really active today, because actually what I do believe in is that yes, trainers should put 100% of their effort, but participants should do the same. So see you in several minutes. Okay, Mr. Samad,
all
we
right,
can
let's
see
get
your
started.
screen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's nice that you can see my screen. Let's get started. Well, writing an essay. The point is that, again, most of us, we deal with writing classes from time to time, and both students and teachers, they may have different troubles or problems when, having this writing. Well, what we're going to do basically again today is to have a look at some main ideas which we need to bear in mind when teaching writing classes. So the thing is that first of all, we should of course realize that basically we've got two types, or I can say that writing, we may divide it into two parts, like writing for pleasure, right? So that we mostly use in our general English classes, and writing essays for exams. These two things are absolutely different things in terms of teaching them, right? And of course, so when we talk about exams, and exams are, we want that or not, exams are integral part of our educational process. And no matter we deal with state, national, or international exams, we may have we may have a component which requires to write whether essays or description of different graphs, like in the IELTS, or it might be about writing formal or informal letter and the rest. But today we're going to talk about writing essays, right? So, and that is again one of the problematic part that we face when dealing with those classes. Well, it doesn't matter what kind of exam you're going to take. So both in national and international exams, we have almost the same criteria. And you're supposed to know that essays are marked based on four main criteria. I would ask you now to type in the chat box at least two of them. I'm more than sure that you're familiar all the criteria, but anyway, I'd like that you to type in the chat box your versions, at least two of them.
Yeah, so while we are waiting, I think what you're doing now is just you're trying to activate prior knowledge of our participants, and just to make them be focused on this topic. So yeah, we are still waiting. And I'm pretty sure that they know all the criteria, and it wouldn't be so difficult to
type. Definitely they know. Yeah, as you
Mr.
exactly mentioned.
Yeah, Mr. Tiana Vanuk, she sent a comment like content and organization. The comment from Natia Vasadze, coherence. Miss
Mm-hmm.
Julia, proper grammar. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
Mariana IELTS. We can see Miss Mariana. Hello.
Hello, hello, Mariana.
Task.
Right
We have
ahead.
like task response, vocabulary, use of English, structure, grammar and vocabulary, coherence and cohesion. This
Mm-hmm.
comment is from Esmeralda. Yep. Style. Anna said that it's style. Then we have what else? Complex grammatical structure, idea, vocabulary. Also, range of vocabulary, communicative achievement, and text organization. So I think we should stop this webinar now. Yeah,
Yeah.
cohesion
Um,
and structure, vocabulary, lengths, grammar, ideas. Miss Anastasia Yanchishina, content, language, communicative achievement, and organization. Yeah, so I
well,
think
great.
that you should reveal
Well,
the
right.
correct
Yeah.
answers.
Yeah. The thing is that, more or less all the participants, they were right. And, but to put that in kind of in a more academic or required way, so essays are marked based on four criteria. Yeah, task response, right? So coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. And each of these criterion, because our essays, they are read four times separately for each criterion. So of course we need to cover all these four criteria if we want to accomplish a higher score, a higher grade. I mean, in the exam. Well, I'm not going to talk about, or I'm not going to reveal, each of these criteria now, because the topic is different, right? So what we're going to do is to have a look basically at the main steps that may help us, whether in teaching on or learning writing essays, right? Okay. So, but first, I'd like just to give you this question, like, what are the major problems students struggle with when writing essays? Can you please again type your answers, your uh, assumptions, and if, of course, I'm sure that most of you probably deal with exam classes, and you definitely know the problems that your students struggle with. So could you please type at least one or two of the
Yeah,
problems you may struggle
so
with?
we have the first answer here, and the first one is topic selection. And to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, my students, they say they even scared of the word essay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, imagination, lack of ideas,
Mm-hmm.
grammar, again, lack of ideas,
Mm-hmm.
lack of vocabulary, creativity,
Okay.
lack of vocabulary, again, lack of vocabulary, discourse, lack of vocabulary. So this, like the main problem for us is lack of vocabulary, because we do
Right.
need just a wide range of vocabulary for writing essays. Lack of idea, accurate response to the task. Okay, vocabulary is simple, lack of ideas. Miss Irina Zirka, lack of ideas. Mariana IELTS, proper development of their opinion. Yeah,
Right.
and lack of time. Good idea, by the way. Lack of
Mm-hmm.
time, repetition of vocabulary, and lack of synonyms.
So,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
well, yeah,
to,
absolutely
to
right. Absolutely
clearly
right.
outline a thesis statement, not feeling creative enough, originality, time management. They do not know how to defend their statements, organization, and drawn word usage. So,
Okay.
okay, thank you for your
Well,
answers.
the first two I'd say are about these two things. So, unawareness of an essay structure, right? So, I I first when I teach essay, I mean writing classes, right? First, before giving them structure, I may ask them to write an essay on a particular topic, and when you check their writings, I mean students' writing, you can see that they tried, they did basically all the best, and but in terms of structure, because they are not aware about the structure, so and they won't be graded with a higher score. Well, again, you were right in terms of ideas. Yes, lack of ideas, generating ideas is another problem for our students. If we move on, we can see that the next three things are planning and time management. And to be honest, most teachers do not pay that much attention to this aspect of, especially of time management, right? So, and if we look at that from test takers perspectives, so in most cases they may have about 40 minutes to complete their essay. And in my own experience, I mean, I had that lots of, feedback from students saying that they failed the writing because of missed time management. They are really good at writing. They may be really good at vocabulary accuracy, or even expressing their opinion or ideas, but because of wrong time management, they couldn't complete their writing in time, and consequently they fail the writing, that component. So that is why this is really very important thing for us as teachers to keep in mind, and to always to find ways how we can speed up their writing process, all in all. Well, of course, another problem is accuracy and word count. Word count is another problem. So sometimes you may have students who really, again, perform good job presenting their ideas in accuracy. Everything is okay, but let's say if the requirement, word count is minimum 250, they may have 230, 220, 25, whatever. So, and this is another problematic point. Imagine that they have about 4 to 5 minutes for their limits, time limits, and they don't know, how to expand the sentences, or how to, they cannot present a new idea. And we shouldn't forget about the psychological aspects of test takers either, because they really feel nervous by the end of the writing time limit. And of course, these are the things that we need to work out with our students, right? And always bear in mind and try to think about the ways how we can simplify for them to overcome these troubles. Well, then, what are the main issues teachers face when teaching writing, you think? Well, again, 1 minute to type your versions in the chat box, please.
To be honest, I think that we should have just lots of ideas here, because it's not only about writing essays, but all the types of writing as usual. We have these problems. Just for me, I think one of the most difficult things is that my students are not that interested in writing, because let's say in our real life, what they do, they actually chat and message us. And for me, it's really difficult even to explain to them why they should write, in my case, a letter, because they never write letters to their friends, emails. Yeah, and
Absolutely
it
right.
sounds a bit weird.
Absolutely right.
So this is the reason they are not so motivated, let's say.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it happens mostly in state exams and national exams when the requirement is to write an informal letter. If we talk about formal letter, this is somehow is okay. But if you talk about informal letter, so nobody probably writes letters to a friend, right? So that
So
is the
Miss
thing.
Marcella from Argentina, she says like the same, lack of interest. Yeah, this is the problem.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the answers. Like, I mean, the things that I think are important. So, students are reluctant to write essays. So, they do it slowly and without enthusiasm. Students, they do not want to write, and particularly if a topic is away of their interests, right? So these are two things that you may have with most of students. They're okay at reading, listening, even speaking modules of the tests, but when it comes to writing, they're really reluctant. They're not willing to write essays, and if they do that, they do that very slowly. And one of the reasons, of course, because of, as you mentioned, lack of ideas. So, and the topic also, because when they go to the exams, when they take exam, they don't know about the topics. But we as teachers, if we investigate a little bit, so you can see, you can find out that in almost most of whether state or international exams, you'll be dealing with only 12. I repeat that deliberately, 12 topics, no more than that, right? So it means that working with your students, you should practice exactly these topic areas, and you should help them with ideas regarding those topics, not, the topics that won't be included in the real exams. Well, apart from that, students also, they may have the next problems. Like when you teach them, they don't like doing brainstorming. We often ask them about brainstorming, like brainstorm some ideas, but they don't know how to do that. So, or in other words, they really have problems with that, or they cannot think that much deeply. Spelling and punctuation are usually hard to teach. Yes, yeah, that is another problematic issue. And the last one, typing or handwriting. So again, some teachers, they do not draw or pay attention to this element, but I'd say this is really very important. If we talk specifically about the IELTS exam, so we may practice with our students a lot, for example, handwriting, right? Writing essays in hand. But at the end of the day, if they decide to take computer delivery tests, they will be typing, right? And if they are slow at typing, even if they are okay basically at writing, they will fail, or vice versa. So we should really keep in mind this fifth element too. Well, what I always say or recommend, do not overteach. So we should tailor our teaching basically to the needs of the students. If we specifically talk about IELTS exam, right, or even other international exams, right? So, but specifically about IELTS, let's say if my student is happy with band score 6, is there any sense to teach him like everything that may take him for 8? He doesn't want that. the requirements of the university, of any organization, I mean institution that he is going to apply for, is just 6 or 6.5, let's say. And in many cases, in so the statistics basically show that 75% of students, they are happy with, if we talk again about IELTS, they're happy with 6.5 or 7 for writing component. And if it is so, why should I overteach? Why should I would say, waste my and his or her time? I need to stick, definitely, I need to stick to the needs of my students. This is very important. And in this way, I will help him or her more than rather than I try to develop his writing skill for aids when he doesn't need that. So, I mean, I used to do the same thing. I used to try teaching everything which is possible to improve the writing of a student. But in many cases, I mean, I failed, frankly speaking, because of lack of time. And most students, they are really short in time, so they don't have that much time to, I mean, to prepare all their skills and all their abilities in all 4 skills. So that is why before we move on to the types of essays, so I would like to remind you that there are 5 types of essays. Could you please name at least 2 types in the chat box? So again, it happens in, I'd say, in almost all international exams. And of course, it happens in some state or national exams. Could you please type at least 2 types in the chat box, what types of essays we have? I know that's, you know, even dear Mariana, Anastasia, they are IELTS instructors, and they know that for sure, but just anyway.
So we have like cause and effect essay, expository essay, what else? For and against, opinion essays, for and against, informative and opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, agree or disagree. Yeah, something like that. So,
all right.
But we should, but we have 5.
We've got 5 types of essays. So opinion essays, discussion essays, problem solution, double question, advantages and disadvantages, or as you said, for and against, pros and cons, right? Well, each of this essay has its own structure. And this is really another significant thing for us teachers to realize, right? So we cannot teach, of course, all the types in the same way. But we're going to talk today, we're going to have a look at advantages and disadvantages type of essay. So advantages and disadvantages essay. So the question might be stated in one of these 3 ways. What are the advantages and disadvantages of something, of a particular trend? Do you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Or it might be discuss the advantages and disadvantages and give your opinion. So as we can see in these 2 cases, in these 2 questions, we need to state our opinion. So the format and the structure will be a little bit different from the first one, because in the first question statement, we are not asked to present our opinion, right? So this is the first thing that we mentioned about the problem that students struggle with, about unawareness of an essay structure. So we should clearly, precisely present the structure to the students. And another thing that we mentioned already about overteaching. So we should tailor our teaching to the needs of our students. So, of course, there are thousands of ways to write each type of essay, but we shouldn't forget that's about preparation to the exam. And even, you may have students that they may write essays only for a particular exam that they are preparing for, and they will never ever write any essay in their further life, right, later on. So that is why they need just to get a wished score that is required by a particular institution that they are going to apply for, right? So that is why we should be very precise, absolutely very precise to the point of each type of essay. Well, just to see the difference, so these are some sample question statements. Like on the left, you can see it is often considered that change is more beneficial to people than trying to avoid it, and la 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 la. And the question is, do you think? So that's it. If I have here, do you think? It means that I need to I need to state my opinion. But on the right, we see what are the advantages and disadvantages of spending money on space exploration. So they do not ask me to state my opinion. It means I will use a particular structure or a particular procedure to my essay. So, and these are two more questions.
Mr. Samad, can
Yes,
I ask you just, can we ask our participants just to answer? So this
which
one,
of
the
them?
first one, yeah, it would be nice for us to check.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that with the last questions. So here again, we have the rise of convenience, la 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 la, and the question is, on the left, do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So so in the first case, do we need to state our opinion or not for this question? Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Should we state our opinion for this question type? Yes, we're going to write about advantages and disadvantages, but do we need to state our opinion or not?
So are we waiting for answers? Mr. Samad?
Yes, please.
Are we waiting for answers?
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I was typing comments to Ms. Tanzala because she asked a question. So Miss Anna says like no, and then somebody says like very interesting topic. That's great. Okay, so the first answer is no.
All right.
So we're still waiting just 30 seconds. I'm pretty sure that we'll have answers. Yes, we need to say which outweigh, Mariana says.
Well, okay, absolutely
Miss
right.
Julia says no. Miss Natia Vasadze says no.
But we need to. Thank you, Miss Mariana. We need to, because yes, the point here is outweigh. So I think, for example, I should state like, I think if you think that advantages outweigh, so you've got to state your opinion. That's right. So, but yeah, for the first question, do the advantages. So let's say the answer, this is yes, no question, right? So if your answer is yes, you should say why. If your answer is no, again, you should say why you think so. But for the second task, the question is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of this? In this case, we don't need to present our opinion because they do not ask us about it, right? So if we move on again, do you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? So that is for sure that we should state our opinion. But for the second task, what are the advantages and disadvantages of exams as a form of assessment? We don't need to present our opinion. We should present some arguments, right? But not state our opinion. So again, this is the first thing that when dealing with advantages and disadvantages type of essay, we should realize this differentiation, this difference, right? So where we need to present our opinion and where we don't. Okay, and the next step, of course, is about presenting the structure. Because again, we've got, let's say, 5 major problems, and we should try to tackle with each of them. The first one was about an awareness of a structure. We should present our students an exact, precise structure for them to follow. And an ideal one will be including 4 paragraphs in all types of essays. Of course, you can write even 3 paragraphs, you can write 5 paragraphs, but an ideal one is to organize your essay with through 4 paragraphs. And depending on your students' needs, you should provide whether first structure, which you can see, the one that you can see in the screen, or the second structure that you'll see in the next page. So the first one is about, so I say, I use this for, basically I divide my students into 3 groups when it comes to writing. Group C, level C, level B, and level A. So level C is kind of low level, but they want, let's say, their need is 6, if we talk again IELTS, band score 6. So they are happy with 6. So for me, that is level C or group C. For those who needs to get 7, that will be group B. But for those who needs to get more than 7, 7 plus, 7.5, 8, 8.5, so that will be, of course, level or group A. So I'm going to show you now the basic structure for even level C and B, that the procedure of even each sentence. So in introduction, right? So what is introduction? Introduction is paraphrasing the question, right? So in the 4 paragraphs that we've got here, so if you see, so introduction, where I need to paraphrase the question and outline the views in the statement, then I will have in my second paragraph, I will write about advantages of a trend, and then in the next body paragraph about disadvantages, and of course my conclusion will refer to my introduction to have this coherent connection, because conclusion should be connected to the theme of introduction. Well, and let's have a look here. If we talk about level C, that is happy with 6 for the IELTS, what we will do, they need to have, after paraphrasing the question statement and outlining the views, in body paragraph, they need to write topic sentence first, then state the first advantage, give detail explaining the advantage, then give an example, state the second advantage, and let's say the second example after explaining the advantage. In terms of the third one, that will work better for level B, who wish to get 7. And if you look at the number of, basically these are the number of sentences, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So that is absolutely right. You can put even 8 lines for your students, or you can write, just put in even in numbers, like in body paragraph 1 and 2, you need to write, if we talk about level C, let's say 6, 7 sentences. Like even if they have only one example, because they really struggle with generating ideas, so they may have 6 or 7 sentences. For group B, that will be 8 sentences in each paragraph. Coming to conclusion, they need to summarize the key points. And now let's have a look at level A. So for level A, because they're okay at language and they're not that much struggle with the ideas, vocabulary, and all the stuff, so you may ask them to write only one advantage, right? So yes, the first paragraph is about advantages, the second is about disadvantages. But here in this case, that will be okay if you give them all, if you ask them to write and then explain that more detailedly. I mean, presenting only one advantage or one disadvantage in body paragraphs, right? But now the question is how to speed it up. Of course, we need to start with the writing introduction. So what is the introduction? Introduction is about paraphrasing the task statement. And there are 3 paraphrasing strategies. So can you type at least one strategy? So, we should practice all these paraphrasing skills before we start teaching them writing classes. In case of IELTS, what we need to do, first of all, we need to develop the paraphrasing skills, reverting skills during the so-called pre-IELTS sessions. And when you start teaching them strategies for writing essays, they already have to be prepared to doing it, right? And there are 3 strategies.
So we're waiting for the answers. Could you just type at least one strategy in the chat box? Yeah, what you've just said, what I believe we should do, we just should tailor this process into manageable chunks, right? So students, or maybe scaffold this process, like for them to feel confident in paraphrasing, and after that to start writing actually what they should do: close reading, reverse outlining, working on key terms. Okay, but what about strategies? What would you do? What would you teach in order to teach your students how to paraphrase? What actually should they do in order to start paraphrasing? Okay.
Well, paraphrasing, we've got 3 strategies to paraphrase the given question statement or a task statement. So that is use of synonyms. The use of synonyms, we usually use it with, again, level C, low level. Verb transformation, it works with level B. They can also use, combine, bring them together, use of synonyms and verb transformation. And usually level A, or it might work even, of course, with all levels, sentence restructuring, right? So these are the 3 ways that we may practice paraphrasing skills of our students. Well, now let's have a look. Level C. The topic is many people today are becoming addicted to using cell phones, right? So now the first thing that they need to do is to paraphrase the sentence, right? So, and let's imagine that they paraphrase the sentence this way. Mobile phones are getting more and more popular among all generations, but that's not enough. Again, first, we shouldn't forget about the other 2 problems which our students may struggle with. The first one, again, time management, and the second thing is about word count. They need more words. In the IELTS, they need for essay at least 250 words, So for that, we've got to help them presenting ready-made phrases, right? So For example, many people claim that they can start with it is always argued that many people claim that it is often said that because this is very helpful tip for them, to add up some words. Then you see, for level C again, if we talk about advantages and disadvantages type of essay, they can always use this part, like however it is a hotly debated topic that often divides opinion. The following essay takes a look at the both sides of the issue, right? So this is for level C, but they do not think about these sentences. They kind of even learn that by heart. That is no problem, right? So, believe me, sometimes we try kind of to recommend our students to be a way of memorizing anything, but it doesn't work with exam classes. For exam classes, there will be some things that they must learn by heart. I know it exactly from my own experience. Believe me, I've had thousands of students, and it works almost with all of that, right? And in this case, what happens? So you kind of give them already 26 words. So, and now he thinks about not about 250, but let's say he thinks about 225 words for him to complete the essay, right? And and these applicable absolutely for all advantages and disadvantages types of essay. Again, relating to the needs of a student who is happy with 6. If you look, for example, for level B, many places in the world rely on tourism, what he does, he again paraphrases the given question statement. So this is another topic, again, how to work with paraphrasing or writing introduction, in terms of paraphrasing. But here, the step is, the main idea here is how to simplify and speed up the writing process. Well, again, now here for level B, you may present them a template, let's say, ready-made phrases, and now this time they have 16 new words already, right? So, and of course, if he is good at paraphrasing the given question statement, he will have about 50 words even, right? Or more, at least more than 30 words for his introduction. Well, coming to level A, again, this is a much better paraphrased form of the question statement because, again, they're good at doing that. But even for level A, you can provide with ready-made, again, phrases or chunks or parts that they may include because, again, they are always kind of worried and nervous because of time pressure. We should really look at that from the perspectives of our test takers, candidates. And in this case, I have 20 words that I give to my students, right? So we can give to students 20 ready-made words already in introduction. Well, so imagine that the first thing, what they do, they need to write introductions, right? And once they write introduction, I always ask them to write conclusion. So again, this is all about time management. So I have only, let's say, 40 minutes. What I need to do, I need to make sure that introduction and conclusion, they must be connected to each other, and it means that I need to prepare them very quickly, and then during the remaining time, I will be thinking of ideas to include into my body paragraphs. Right? So yes, basically, generally good conclusion when you return to the theme in the introduction, right? So we should refer to the introductory paragraph in the conclusion, right? And then we need to include a brief summary of the essay's main points. What are the essay main points? For example, in terms of advantages and disadvantages, of course, we should at the end, kind of, we should present whether advantages or disadvantages, let's say, are more applicable for the essay. Well, definitely we need to vary our language, right? So using synonyms again, and do not introduce new ideas in conclusion. Now, we can start our writing and conclusion with one of those, and of course there are plenty of them, but anyway, with one of these phrases, right, or parts of sentences. But especially working with low-level students, you can ask them to choose only one, the one which has more words, right? Because again, word count is another problem, right? And practicing different types of essays. Like I can ask, for example, students to write, usually I do that, 12 so they write 12 essays for each type of essay, right? And every time, let's say, when they write about advantages and disadvantages type, when they write conclusion, they always start weighing up both sides of the argument, blah, blah, blah. So they do that, we need to, they need to create this automaticity, and for them to do that very quickly. So now look what happens. So first they write introduction, right? And straightforward, after writing introduction, they write the conclusion. And if we talk about advantages and disadvantages type, look what happens here. Weighing up both sides of the argument, I would argue that despite the disadvantages, these are ready-made. So of course you can prepare your own versions, but this is just a sample. So, and you can apply it to absolutely everything. Using mobile phones, because the topic was about mobile phones, is essential to modern life, and that the advantages to doing it, to doing what? Using mobile phones, are far greater than the advantages. Imagine now the topic is about keeping diets, right? Keeping a diet or studying abroad. Whatever topic it is, you can use always the same conclusion, just changing this part. Weighing up both sides of the argument, I would argue that despite the disadvantages, studying abroad, blah, 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 and that the advantages, la, 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 or keeping a diet, whatever you want, I mean, whatever topic it is, you can always stick to the template. And in this case, what happens with the ready-made phrases that you provide your students with, in introduction they have 26, and in a conclusion they have 26 more words. It means that is more than 50 together with introduction, right? So now they think not about 250 words. Now they think about 200 words. So again, of course, and they feel more relaxed or more confident. So you present these phrases, you provide these phrases for each type of essay, right? Well, and the same thing for level B. So they write their introduction. So the only thing that they need to do is to have this good paraphrasing. Even if they have poor paraphrasing, the parts that you provided them with, will somehow save them. First, in terms of structure. Second, in terms of time controlling, and of course, about word count. So for level B, for example, they may choose taking everything into consideration. I believe that although tourism can have la 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 la. And now imagine that, for example, after completing the essay, your student, of course, should count the number of words, and he may see that, okay, he has 200, for example, 247. So what you may recommend them, go back to the conclusion or introduction, for example, and you may change this although, replace this although with, for example, in spite of the fact that, where you will have 5 more words. So I'm just replacing one word with its reverted version, he will have more than 250 words. I guess you know what I mean. Well, the same story with level A, right? So Look, even level A, they may start, it is thought by some people that la 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 la, so this is paraphrased form. Then, although having one language, certainly, of course, this is the topic and you can always change that, but all the rest you can keep the same for your introduction. Or in conclusion, like in conclusion, while there are a few plus points to what? To using mobile phones, to having one global language, to studying abroad, to whatever. It goes without saying that the negative impact of the trend will be more disappointing. So again, these are already ready-made parts which really help our students in terms of first time management and word counting. And in this way, they have more time for generating ideas. And look, they've got already more than 40 words here. Well, the next thing they need to write. So after preparing introduction and conclusion, now they have more time, right? And usually, what I ask them to write introduction and conclusion just within 5 or 6 minutes. And believe me, they if you practice that, you'll see that it is doable. It is really doable. It means that they have more time for body paragraphs where they need, of course, to deal with ideas. And if we talk about level C, for example, whatever you are going to write in terms of advantages and disadvantages, you are the one who decide how many advantages or how many disadvantages you are going to include into your body paragraphs. And because in the procedure of structure, we need to start with topic sentence. So you can always start with the same thing, like we're talking like specifically for level C. And then if you work with level B, of course, you will provide another template, right? So there are 3 main advantages too. There are 2 main advantages too. To what? Having mobile phones, studying abroad, keeping a healthy diet, having one global language, whatever. But this is already the topic sentence that they do not need to think that much to start writing their body paragraphs. And then because of the procedure, so because they need to explain now the idea, so and they want to have it more in terms of the words, they can continue like, first of all, it is worth considering that, and then present their first argument. For example, by the way, in this point, we also, when we give them these templates, we provide with all the punctuation, because they may forget, for example, using commas, right? So that is why we assist them in this way too. Well, and if you count already, this is just a template. They did nothing still, but this is kind of, it looks more like filling the gaps activity for them. And then when they start writing their first writing on advantages and disadvantages, I provide them with some ideas. What I ask them to do, I ask them like, you see, there are 6 ideas here that you can include into your essay, into your body paragraph 1. But I ask them to choose 2 of them, whatever they want, and add 1 their own, right? So for the next task, I will ask them to, I will again provide them with ideas, but I will ask them to choose this time only 1 of them. For the next task, for the third task, let's say I wouldn't give them any ideas, right? Or you can give them ideas. Another way, you can provide them with ideas, but ask them to paraphrase the given, not just copy. If in the first 2 tasks, they may just copy them into the gaps, let's say, but starting from the 3rd or 4th task on the same type of essay, you may ask them to use the ideas given by you in a paraphrased form. So in this way, what you're doing, in this way, you're really practicing even their brainstorming. Well, the same story with body paragraph two, and whatever topic is, you can always start your topic sentence with the way that you prepare it for a particular group. On the other hand, comma, there are a few significant problems with the use of mobile phones or whatever. So in this part, you just change the topic. Firstly, like or such as. Secondly, and give an example. I mean, exemplifying. You can also, because again of number of words, you can also include into your template this one. A good illustration of that is. And if they're okay to present their final argument, they may continue finally, blah, blah, blah. But again, I provide them with negative ideas, right? So ask them to include two of them from the list and one their own, right? So, and all in all, what you have, so you prepare for each group, here I'm just showing you the template for level C, but of course we've got, I mean, we developed absolutely for all groups and different, not only one, different templates. And you see, this is the template. So, and your student, when preparing for exams, specifically for essays, he chooses one of the templates which which is okay for his good, for his needs, I mean, and in this case, look, if you count, we've got here 122 words, let's say 120. What it means? So it means that your candidate shouldn't think about writing 250 words. So he'll be thinking of 130 words. So what you did, you simplified or you somehow tackle one of the problems. And of course, another thing, that's all about time management. So it means that he somehow saved saved 15 minutes. So this 15 fifths, in many cases, even 20 minutes. So, and when he's able to save this 15 or 20 minutes, of course, he will spend this time, whether proofreading, like checking for accuracy, for punctuation, spelling, right? Or he can spend this time for ideas to include into the gaps for a particular topic, right? Well, and this is the main idea. This is the main idea which stands behind that. Yeah, and it works with each type of essay. Like we've developed, of course, for each type of essay, we've developed ready-made templates for each level or for each level group, right? So, and we always really face that students love it, and believe me, I mean, I worked it out with hundreds of students, and it really works well, right? Well. And we shouldn't forget, and specifically if we talk about, again, coming back to the phrase like we shouldn't overteach, because one of the criteria is about grammatical range and accuracy, right? So if we look, for example, at the bound descriptor for the IELTS, so we can see that, so what is grammatical range? That's all about sentence structures and sentence types, right? Types of sentences. And grammatical accuracy are about punctuation, spelling, or grammar structures. And if you look at 6, you can see it uses a mixed, simple and complex sentence, uses a variety of complex sentence for 7, uses a wide range of structures, right? So sentence structures we mean. So, and knowing these criteria, of course, we should adapt to the and basically provide with the things that a particular group needs. If we talk about those who are happy with 6 and 7 or up to 7, so they need to have a variety of sentence types. So it means in their body paragraphs, they need to include simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. When it comes to those who wish to get more than 7, they should definitely include at least one passive structure, at least one question sentence, and if they may, conditional sentence. It will take them even for 8 and plus, right? So, but I shouldn't overteach that. If my student is okay with 6 or 7, I do not need to practice these structures, right? So I will mainly concentrate on these 3 types of sentences, right? And I will make sure that they're doing really well in that, right? Let's, for example, if we take as a sample this sentence, the government should tax sugary drinks. So first we can practice with them writing simple sentences, then compound sentences, and then some complex sentences there. They provide 2 or more ideas using some linkers or conjunctive words. And then for high level students, you can practice some passive structures, question sentence like, well, would a sugar tax really work? Or conditional, right? So of course it works only with high level students. And again, if I don't work with level A, I won't teach these things, right? But all in all, if you've got 5 complex sentences, 2 passive structures, and 1 question sentence, you will definitely have 7. And of course, if you're okay in terms of accuracy, punctuation, and all the stuff, so you will get 7 plus for your grammatical range and accuracy criterion, right? All right. Another thing that we can practice with all levels about punctuation, like giving them information on using commas, right? And you can provide them with some activities like, the following paragraph contains 11 punctuation errors, right? So because sometimes students do not pay attention to punctuation, but this is another thing that may somehow, reduce their points, right? Well, basically the idea, these are the parts which contain the problem. Well, what was the idea of today's webinar is just to follow or stick to the points of the step-by-step writing. So what was the idea? To control, to help them control their time, word count, and to provide them with a particular structure. So first what they do in terms of, they should be familiar with structure and strictly stick to the structure of each type of the essay. We should prepare them ready-made templates that they need to use, because that will definitely save their time, and they will have already more than 100 words, and they will think about not 250 in terms of IELTS essays, but they will think about, let's say, 150, 130 words, right? First, and to speed up, first what they do, they write introduction, and then they go to the conclusion. To write conclusion will not take them that much long, and only after that they start writing body paragraphs, and in a way of filling the gaps for the template that they use for a particular type of essay. Well, that's it from me.
I'm here with you. Please leave your screen on. So I do hope that was practical and useful for you, because even for me it was useful just to revise everything. And here's some kind of surprise we'd like to share with you today. As you can see here, the second sr.teaching means our Instagram account. So the announcement is that we're gonna have a workshop on multiple choice questions in reading. Mr. Samad, leave your screen on, please. Yeah. On Okay, so we're going to have a workshop on multiple choice questions in reading and listening. It won't be like a webinar, it'll be a workshop on Zoom where we'll be able to practice everything and just surely would like to communicate with you, would like to have your questions, and would like to see that you can do it as teachers, and actually then you will be able to bring it to your students. So since Mr. Samad is a test maker, so he knows all those special things. So, as usual, we do have something up in our sleeves, but he knows more, I believe. And he has one nice idea about the distribution of difficulty of questions we have in multiple choice question types. And it really helps. So I'd like to invite you to join our workshop. If you go to our Instagram account, here's the announcement, you can click the active link and you will find where you can register for the workshop. Now it's not free, it's just like $15, but the point is, since you spend so much time here with us, we'd like, I don't know, to do something special for you. So on Instagram, I've already posted a post with Samad's picture, and you could see there's something like a webinar discount. So if you leave your feedback under that post in the comment box, we will contact you immediately. Like, we will DM you the link how to pay 30% less. So it'll be like only $10. Why we do that? Because we know you participated here, and for us to be sure that you listened to everything he shared today, I think it will be fair and transparent for us to see the feedback that you participated, you got something from it, and this way you can get your 30% discount. Yeah, so I do hope we'll be able to see you at our workshop on Zoom, where we'll be able to talk a lot and discuss everything. And Mr. Samad, we had several questions here. I do remember the first one was from, I'm trying to find, the one question was from Tamar. Just could you share any activities based on critical thinking in essay writing? Just while you're thinking, I'm scrolling and searching for more questions. If you have any questions, just please.
All right. So, by the way, thank you very much, dear Tamar. Dear Tamar, for joining a person who always supports us in all our events. Well, I've got some suggestions. Of course, I've got, but this is kind of another type of talk, right? So, critical thinking, again, this is not exactly the same thing that we need to use for writing when dealing with exams, right? So of course we will have some different strategies, whether even though if you deal with academic writing, so each approach, each writing has its own specific approaches, right? And the same thing that, the workshop that we are going to have next week on Wednesday, we'll try to work out the multiple choice question types. Multiple choice question types are the most common question type in absolutely all exams. Doesn't matter you prepare your students for state exams or for international exams, you will definitely deal with multiple choice question types. And believe me, whether in listening and or writing, believe me, if you know how they are constructed, what is the sense behind that, you will simplify your teaching to your students, those types of questions.
Yeah, just I can't find that question, but there was something like, you mentioned that we have 12
yes,
topics.
Mr. Mom.
We have 12 topics.
Yes.
So what about those 12 topics? How can we get the idea of those 12 topics to teach our students?
Oh, so
is it like a secret information or what?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say this is a secret information, but I cannot reveal now all these topics here. The thing is that, okay, so we reveal all these things during our IELTS instructor courses, right? And again, these are not only topics that work for IELTS, it works for all absolutely international exams. And but I mean, what I gave you as a tip, if you investigate a little bit through the internet, even if you go and look through some exam books, you may see that you may somehow conclude which topics are more common. But again, there are 12 topics that cover question statements in task 2 of IELTS, or basically about writing essays.
Okay, so it seems like, another question. How restating is different from paraphrasing in our essay?
I see that Miss Natalia Pavlish. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
So, can you see the question?
How restating is different from paraphrasing in our essay? Well, if we talk about paraphrasing, right? So paraphrasing might be about just, let's say, using synonyms, right? When we talk about paraphrasing, you can use synonyms having the same structure of a sentence, right? But if you talk about restating, you can change the structure of a sentence. For example, we say many people work today, or the main reason people work today a lot is to earn money, So if I want to restate that, I can restructure the sentence and start with earning money is the main reason for people to work, and that is about restating. But paraphrasing will be about kind of keeping the same structure of a sentence, but changing, replacing them with the phrases which are similar or synonymized phrases. I mean.
And here we have a question from Miss Victoria concerning the IELTS instructor course. Yes, please, you can go to our Instagram page as well, click the link, and you will find the information about the course, all the components. And the price, it depends on whether you want to take it offline or online. The next instructor course in Ukraine will have, when, please let me know, Mr. Samad, we'll have it in Lviv, definitely, on the 21st of December.
No, 20th,
21st.
20th of December, we're going to have offline IELTS instructor course in Lviv. So we're going to have only 6 participants. We don't have that many participants for our offline courses. Only 6 participants. So we've got already some that are involved. And we're going to have one online IELTS instructor course in January. And to be honest, frankly speaking, probably I may kind of seem a bit rude, but the fees that we offer for these 2 courses are going to change very, very, very much.
Okay, so Ms. Tanzala, she's still insisting on getting those 12 topics. So, okay, just DM us on Instagram and we'll discuss everything there, okay, because we can't reveal it here.
Dear Tanzala, first of all, thank you very much that you joined, and coming to those topics, we'll somehow share them, not only for you, for everybody. Probably we'll think about that, probably about another writing workshop, not a webinar, but a workshop. And in that workshop, we may speak about that too. But next week, we're going to have a workshop on reading and listening, dealing with multiple choice question types.
Yeah, well, I'm sending the link how to register for that workshop I've mentioned. But don't forget that just if you'd like to have that discount, 30%, go on Instagram, type your feedback. Even if you put several emojis, that would be okay, so we'll know that you've participated. Yeah, and then we will reach you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mariana and Natalia Pavlich for sharing this uh, information. They both attended our IELTS instructor course, and I'm really happy that they are pleased and satisfied with the course.
Yeah. So I think we should say just love you and leave you.
Yeah, love you and leave you. Thank you very much. I do hope to see you next week on Wednesday during the workshop. I do hope that you will love that workshop, and so you will. I mean, you will take lots of probably new things, and that will be useful for your future teaching. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. See
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye.